And if you have any questions, I want to answer them here in this session. So before we get going, just for those of you who are not familiar with GoToMeeting, there's something I want to point out in the GoToMeeting interface, and that is your question panel. If you folks could, we've got a fairly small group here today, so if you folks could everyone on the line right now just submit a question through the questions panel, just so that I know that you guys know where it is and can ask questions. There's been some confusion on that in the past, and I just want to make sure that everyone is up to speed in it. So open up your questions panel in the GoToMeeting interface and send a question on in. Or just anything. It doesn't have to be a specific question about Zebra yet. You could just say, hi, how are you? Okay. Looks like we've got one person, and we're adding everyone else. Oh, here's one from Tara Black. Why should I add ZebraZapps during tool list of software? Well, Tara, hopefully we can answer that for you in this session. Okay, so why should you? You know, I'm actually going to go straight back to that. Tara, why should you? Because it's an interactive tool. I'm not sure what tools you personally are using right now or any of you other folks in the audience, but Zebra is very good for rapid prototyping, creating interactivity, and doing it all without having to learn code. It's very visual, it's very intuitive. It's going to be a little unlike anything else you've ever seen before, but it should make sense right away, and hopefully you can see the power up front of what you can create. You know, you can make very simple interactions. What we're going to be doing today up front is going to be just showing you the basics of how wiring works, making things hide and show. Tara, using Captivate. All right, excellent. It's very good for doing that simple stuff, but you can go so much farther beyond. You can make complex logic. You can make Zebra actually do calculations for you based off of what you're doing on stage, and have those calculations go out and do a lot of different things. I've seen people use Zebra to actually make mini game engines, so you can, you know, shoot things across the screen or interact with things on screen, and various other things happen. Seen some pretty wacky games that people have come up with just by combining all of the objects in here and making them all work. So we're going to take a look at how you build this stuff in Zebra. The example I'm going to show up front, it's going to be pretty simple. It's going to just show you the basics and kind of get you in the mindset of how Zebra works. I give you an overview of a lot of the different features in the product. And then I'm going to open it up a bit. Since you folks all clearly know where the question panel is, you should ask questions at any point in time. Anything I'm doing on screen at that point in time, I will be more than happy to ask. Once we open it up, I will answer any question that you guys throw out to me, and just be really hands-on, and show you that Zebra can satisfy whatever your e-learning need is. So please engage me. This webinar will go. It'll go so much better for you guys if you just talk to me and ask me what you want through that questions panel. So looks like a lot of you are using it. Hi, Bob. So you're using it right there, and you'll be really good about. It'll be really good for you to see what Zebra can do if you just ask me. So here we go. I am going to get going in. I hope all you folks can see my screen on here right now. I'm actually just going to log into my account here on the side panel, and if any of you folks don't have a trial, we'll get you up the free trial at the end of this session. No credit card at any point needed. You can just get up and start going. So I'm logged in, and what I'm logged in at right now is the ZebraZapps website. This is ZebraZapps is cloud-based. Anywhere I log in, any browser I log into, I can access all my apps, all my stuff, anywhere, and just start using it, start getting it to products I've used before, do a lot of things in the back end of the system. A couple parts of it. This over here is my account, and we'll take a look at it in a second. But here in the middle is the App Shop, and the App Shop is the place where people can publish out any of their projects, so stuff that they've made in Zebra, and share it with the community. Nothing you make has to go in the App Shop. It is not compulsory at all. but people will, they'll make simple projects, apps, and share them out here with people. Some people have also used it to sell various apps. You can see right here, Hand to Mind, they teach math, have published out a series of their lessons in here to make available for people on our platform. There's a lot of stuff in these app shops to kind of give you guys ideas about what you can create on your own. Right now, I'm actually going to look for this. Just search for it. We've got, a search function. You can drill down to a lot of different categories and kind of find exactly what you're looking for in apps if you're just kind of poking around in here. But right now, we're going to take a look at this one right here, the check validation app. I'm going to open it up, and this is the details page for that app. The basic kind of publishing information for that app is going to be on this page, as well as the app itself. You can see it loading up here in the middle. I'm actually going to, once it opens, I'm going to bust it out in its new window. So this new window is actually going to look a little bit like how it is going to look if, you publish it out in an LMS, kind of get you on that idea. I know some folks are probably curious about how Zebra works with an LMS. We could probably take a look at it later, but here's a hint. It works very well. The details page, we're going to go back to it for a second here. Here's some publishing information from the author. You can see it here, category, ratings that people have given it throughout the shop, and some options for actually sharing this app. So nothing you create has to stay in ZebraZapps.com itself. You can share it out to the world. It'll just link back to some of the stuff, and you can embed it on your own site. So you only have to see this part of it. You don't have to see the main site. A lot of different things that you can do with it as you're creating your content here. So let's take a look at this app, because this is what we are going to be reconstructing, and I'm going to be referring to it several times, just kind of give you guys some context as we're going along here. Oh, here's a question here from Tara. SCORM 1.2 compliant? You bet. It's actually through SCORM 2004 and 1.2. The tricky little thing people don't always tell you is that 2004 is completely backwards compatible with 1.2. So anything you publish out is going to work in both platforms. Not a problem at all. Oh, Bob, okay. You're asking about, Jerry too, Tin Can. Yep, we are Tin Can compliant as well. For those folks of you who may not know, who are only familiar with SCORM, Tin Can is the upcoming compliancy, the new standard beyond SCORM, basically. You can think of it as the son or daughter of SCORM, and it's a lot more interactive, a lot more flexible in what you can actually record through your learning, and we're fully compliant with that as well. I'll touch on that as we get through here, but yes, just know up front, we're completely compliant. It's not a problem at all. So let's get back to this app right here. So this app was built for bank tellers to learn about check negotiability. So basically, the idea of this is that when a bank teller accepts a check at a bank, there are 6 things, as pictured on screen right now, that the bank teller has to look at on the check so that they can accept it into their bank. You can see that they need to check out the date, the amount, the maker's signature, the drawee bank, the payee, and the endorsement. And after they've checked out all these, you can see down here, we now can continue on to our next section. The bank can actually accept the check. What we're going to do is actually rebuild some of this on stage here. I just want to show it off to give you a little bit more context of what we're actually going to be building here right now. And we will get going here. Give me just a second, folks. Sorry about that, folks. We're back on here. Just wanted to make sure I'm lined up for my next section. And here we go. So let's get into the editor, because I'm sure this is what you folks want to see. Get hands-on and dirty with building some of this stuff in here. I'm just going to tuck this down here. We'll be referring back to this as well and kind of tuck this over here. But the editor, we were actually going to make it full screen here. I'm going to call this right now. Should we call it? Okay, webinar demo 1. Webinar demo, and I'm going to put today's date in here. Just for this example here. You can see I'm actually going to make a blank project right now, but just for your folks' edification, we actually have down here all sorts of templates which you can load on. These templates are fully customizable. They're a good starting point for you building your project. You can change around any of the graphics, any of the color scheme in here to meet your company's standards. Really easy to switch stuff around and kind of do whatever you want with it. But we're actually going to be opening up a blank project right now, as I had mentioned. So I've hit blank project, I've entered my name, and it's time to create the project. So let's open it up right now. And here we go. We are in the editor, and we are in event flow view right now. If I want to start building stuff immediately, I can go into here. I double-clicked on event 1, and this is my work area. This white space is what my users will see if I publish out an app right now. The gray space behind here is actually kind of my backstage. I can create stuff back here that the user may not see, but they can interact with in various ways. You can build out various logic. You can build out, all sorts of math equations. You can have stuff come in from off screen. You can control a lot of your animation stuff back here. It's really useful to have this backstage that you get in this event. And you actually get it in every event. Let me back out here to the main area and kind of explain events a little bit. So you can see here we've got Master A and Event 1. If I click this plus button over here, I can actually keep on just adding events into my project. And every event, I'm actually going to click on Event 3, is its own workspace. So we're here in Event 3. Anything in here is not going to overlap with Event 2, so that includes the backstage area where you can create your stuff, or Event 1. Some people have compared this to, PowerPoint pages or buttons that you can, PowerPoint pages or buttons that you can, PowerPoint pages that you can kind of create stuff in. It's not as simple as that. It's a lot more robust. You can build a lot of different things in Zebra that you can't with those pages. For example, I pointed out the backstage. You can also communicate between events and send a lot of information back and forth between them. It's a lot more customizable than you might get out of a simple PowerPoint project. And yeah, it's a lot more robust. Once you get your hands on it for 5 minutes, you should see how much more robust it is. And hopefully, just by seeing that, you have this whole gray area behind every event that you can build stuff in, you can actually get back in there and do some stuff there. So we have events, and we have Carrie. Question from there: Can you storyboard out stuff? Carrie, by storyboarding, do you mean like branching scenarios, or do you just mean building out stuff in sequence, or do you mean branching out to like different parts of, like, say, a conversation? Okay, branching. Yeah, of course. So, for example, I'll demonstrate it here a little bit. Maybe I'll even tack a few more events on. Oh, looks like we have one waiting from Tara as well. So, for example, I could easily have them start here on Event 1, push a button, and actually go down into Event 4. So practically what that application means, you can see I'm looking at both Event 1 and 4 right now, is that if I have my people working in an area and there's a bunch of different scenarios that they can get started on, a bunch of different tracks that they can go down, if we built out some of our content in Event 4 and we're starting at Event 1, a button can take us to Event 4, a series of questions that they answer can take us to Event 4. It all depends on how you build it. So yes, it's very nonlinear, even though it looks linear here. You by no means need to go in sequence on here. You can jump around back and forth, do whatever you want as you're constructing your scenarios. The question from Tara in here, okay, the main difference between Pro and Pro Plus. Good question. So the main difference is that Pro Plus, it's our premier level. It costs a little bit more. But with that, you get a couple of features The main two that I can talk about at this point in time are, our premium support. So you will get a lot of hours where kind of time where you can sit down with our staff, ask any questions, have them help, they can help you build out stuff, help prototype some stuff with you as a part of your yearly bundle. Also, you get to you can download standalone packages. So when you create stuff in Zebra, regardless of if it's for an LMS or not, at the creator and pro levels, all that stuff is going to exist online. And you can link to it online. You can send people into it online. That's no problem. If it's hosted through an LMS, then you will need to actually deal with some back-end stuff with how many people can use it at a particular time if you're using the pro level. However, at Pro Plus, you don't have to worry about the number of people using your course or how that tracking data is going to get managed in the back end. Also, I believe that within, let's say, a month or two here, we're going to have an exciting announcement about a big feature that everyone wants at the Pro Plus level that I can't talk about right now, but just know that everyone's been asking for it. So if you have any idea what I'm talking about, my audience, you probably should get excited about that, because we had some new developments on that yesterday, and while I cannot say it by name, I wish that I could, because hopefully you folks have some notion of what I'm talking about. All right, so Tara, I hope that answered your question. When will it happen? The announcement, all I can say right now is within a month. Let's just leave it at that. But another bit, it's one of the big features that's going in there. I'd like to point out, too, that one of the big things in Zebra is that we don't have version releases. It's not version 1.0 or 2.0 or 3.0, because it's just a kind of a rolling subscription. Whenever you log into Zebra, you get the latest version no matter what. You don't have to deal with upgrading or downgrading or going through a bunch of stuff with your projects. You can just kind of go through and use whatever's available at that level. So as we continue to roll features out, we scale them off of kind of how much time it's taken us to build it, and scale it onto that level. So you can just, once you're at that level, you automatically get that feature. You don't have to screw around with a lot of stuff. You just get it. Just by logging in, you get the latest version at your level, which means you get all those upgrades, tweaks, features without having to download and install anything or run updaters or patches or any of that junk like that. You just get it, and you're good to go. A lot of questions today. That's excellent. Let's see, any other questions? Oh, Tara, very talkative today. So if you use an LMS, then you must have Pro Plus? No way. You can use it at the Pro level as well, and you can pop it into your LMS and distribute it to there. There is some back-end concerns with it works no problem on an LMS with just a Pro account. I'll even just pop it into here right now, just kind of since there's a lot of questions up front about the LMS. I will open it here. I've actually just under Publish switched on the LMS window. We haven't explained message senders yet, but here's all of our LMS stuff. This will work at both the Pro and Pro Plus levels. The big difference between Pro and Pro Plus is that you can download a standalone package at the Pro Plus level that you can use anywhere. At Pro, you still need to refer to the package where it exists online. So basically, Pro does not have an offline mode for anything that you can create. Excellent questions. Let's get looking back at our demo here then. If there's any more, again, I'll be happy to stop and answer them for you. Right here, we've looked at events, kind of have a notion of what those are. Take a look at a master right now. A master is just another event that has a few special properties. A master can sit in the background or the foreground of other events. You may have seen masters in other programs where you can just stick a picture on there, something like that. It's a lot more robust in Zebra because since the master isn't just a place to hold images, it's an actual event. You can build out logic on there. You can build the controls for your course to go backwards and forwards, have those appear on any stage. You can build out various, logic. You can build out complex stuff. I've seen people. One of my favorite examples is a mortgage semester was creating a course, and they actually built out a calculator that the students would have to use on every page. So instead of making them, haul on their own calculator, it was a very specialized thing for them, helping them work through the math on the various problems that they were working on right now. And it was very, it was there on every single course. So let's keep on taking a look right here. The Master A, I'm going to actually open up to show you how it works. I'm going to open up here on the left-hand side the resource library, and we're going to actually get into creating some stuff on stage right now. If I click the plus button right here, it's going to open, here on my off stage, my hard drive. So here are some picture assets that I want to pull into this master so we can see work in our project right now. And once I hit save, it's actually going to upload these into my project. At least I should. Did I not hit save? Here we go. There it goes. So it's all uploading into my project right now. And if I hit save right now, close this project, open it up somewhere else, all these objects are going to be there. And you can use them anywhere. You can use it anywhere, and you can just get access to it. I'm actually going to show you right now. I'm going to bring this out onto stage. This is a logo. Pretty simple. You can drag that, and I can place it anywhere on stage. I can tweak some of the properties of the logo over here in the inspector. It's just a snapshot of the properties. It's not all of them, but it's good for making some quick adjustments. Good kind of introduction to what you can change on here. You can do all sorts of stuff with positioning it exactly on stage. You can rotate it around. I'm actually going to change the zoom here on this logo. Zoom it down to about 50%. Move it up here into the corner, and I could keep on tweaking this however I want it. But I'm going to show you right now that since I've popped this picture on this master right here, if I back out into the main area, you can see on all my events now that logo exists. So it trickles down through every single event that I've used. I haven't actually opened this event, so that's why I have the great background still. But yeah, here it is. You can see it's all here. If I make any adjustments to this logo, again, I'm actually going to move it down into the corner right here for now. You'll see, again, it flows down into every single event. So it's great for kind of managing a bunch of art at the same time, not having to deal with positioning it on different pages. It's a real-time saver. But let's go back now and take a look at what we referred to at the very beginning, our check validation app. And we're going to get into authoring some of this stuff right here. Again, let's take a look at breaking it down. I mouse over this button, this number 1, it shows me the date. Click on it, shows me the date here. And that's the basics of what we're going to start building right now. And let's get going. As I mentioned earlier, one of the big things with Zebra is the fact that it's great for rapid prototyping. You don't have to have your art right away. In fact, I'm not even going to use the stuff that I imported over here for a while. We're going to pretend that I don't have it yet. You can just get in there and start building stuff without your art, start prototyping right away, so you can start working out what you actually want the course to be and kind of get a general feel of how it's going to work and kind of how it's going to look like before you ever even have to start touching some of these other assets. So instead of popping this check down here on stage to begin with, I'm going to just draw out this rectangle. Pretend that we don't have the check. We're going to build this as if we're rapid prototyping right now. And you're going to see how quickly I can make usable content. So I've got this rectangle. This is going to represent our check and our prototype. And here is a button that I've popped down here on stage. I should say this button I pulled out of the toolbox here, as well as the rectangle. Break down the toolbox a little bit. Up here, the top row is kind of for navigation stuff. This next section right here, these 6 here, are all kind of our basic objects. We've got lines, a rectangle, a circle. We can draw paths, text, polygons, all sorts of stuff in there. Our next level down is a lot more of our interactive objects. I actually took this button out of here. This is just a checkbox, which you can see here on stage, which is what we'll be interacting with. You can just click checkbox off and on. But these are all buttons here. text entry, you can have movies, you can have audio, we've got clocks that can work on various capacities. And down at the bottom we've got a lot of our logic objects, stuff for calculating out how various things goes. It's really easy, hands-on. Maybe we'll take a look at it later. Slightly more advanced, but you know, once you get and start using it, we've designed it to be as intuitive as possible for you. But anyhow, right here on our main stage, we have got our representative check and our button. And what we want to have happen is that when we click on our checkbox, we want some text over here to actually appear. I'm actually going to go over here onto my hard drive again and check out wrong file. Here we go. Here's just some text which I have here. I'm actually going to copy and paste this into here. It's the same text that we saw in our example over there. And paste it in to this new text object, and here we go. Easy to copy and paste stuff in from external programs. What we want to have happen again is that when this box is checked on, we want to show this. We're going to do it by making connections between these two objects. So let's break it down again. We've looked over here a little bit before at our inspector. These are some of the properties that apply to this box over here. You can change a bunch of them. I'm actually going to switch the fill color here to, let's make it a shaded dark green right here. And our checked fill color, so that when it actually is checked on, we're going to change that to kind of a hue of light red. There you go. You can see now that when I check it off and on, it's got those properties. It's got the unchecked green and the checked on light red. I can also tweak any of the properties of this object down here in this box, which is called the message center. The message center is how objects in Zebra communicate to each other. And this is the core of what makes Zebra different. It's what's really interesting about this program, which I hope you're going to see in about a minute here. You know, we have some of the properties for this object under here, but we have all of them under the Properties tab here in the Message Center. So I think this is the quick snapshot. This is everything down here. I'll actually show you here. You know, I changed it to kind of this red here. I'm going to switch the color again down here using kind of this eyedropper and make it a shade of light blue. You can see I made the change here. It's also corresponding with over here. These properties are always going to match up and be there on the object. However, in addition to properties, you can see at the top here we have ins and outs. And here's what how I like to describe it. The properties say what an object is. So if you ask a property, hey, what are you? Or an object, hey, what are you? It's going to exist here in the properties. But objects can say things to other objects through their outs, and they can hear things from other objects through their ins. So what this amounts to is this. I'm going to look here under my outs. I'm going to find this little thing here that says checked on. So basically what this is that when this button gets checked on, so when the X comes on the button, whatever is attached to this is going to happen. So I'm actually going to make a connection here. I'm going to drag out a wire, which is just how we make these little connections. And now I'm going to connect it to the in on this text box. So what we have now is communication happening. We have that when this button gets checked on, it's going to go right here. It's going to say, hey, I'm checked on. And it's going to go down this line right here, and it's going to show the text box. Alternately, when it's actually checked off, I'm going to set up a connection to hide this checkbox. So again, this is the core of Zebra. It's what makes it interesting. This object is now speaking, and this object over here is now hearing. Let's actually see it in action. Check it off for now. Make it one little tweak here. Let's see. I want to make it so that when I first start running this project, oops, a little early there. When I first start running this project, I want it to hide. Okay, so when I actually kick it into run mode, it's going to start hiding. And here we go. Our run mode. This is how, if this is a run mode, if we give it to our users right now, send it out to our audience, this is what they're going to see. It's in action. You know, if you're familiar at all with, say, Captivate, I know it takes a long time to send something out to preview in Zebra. No. Click it over. you're in run mode right away. Zebra takes care of a lot of stuff in the background and sets it up for you. So you can basically slip into seeing how the user will see it right away. But here we are. I click this button on. Hey, the date's going to show over here. Click it off. It's going to hide. And again, all of what I have on here on stage right now is set up, and it's all running through these message centers. It's because now these two are communicating, they're sending information back and forth, and they're talking now. Does that kind of make sense? Do you folks follow? If you do follow, why don't you give me a hands up in GoToMeeting? I just want to make sure that everyone's on board with this. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Okay, excellent. Yep, sounds good. Looks like you folks are all following right now, and we're good to go. Let's keep going on. Let's add on to it, build a little bit more. So we have our date showing over here. In our original example right now, you can see that even if I just move the mouse over this button, a date label shows up. Why don't we pop that in here? I'm actually going to make a new text object on stage, call it the date. I'm going to tweak some of its properties here. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger so it reads a little bit better on stage. Also, I'm going to change the background color here to, let's say a shade of orange, kind of like what we had before there. Let's put this right here. Let's move this. Actually, I think it will sit pretty well over here. I'm just going to put it right there. I'm going to tweak its anchor point, which hopefully you folks are familiar with. It's basically just the point off of which everything happens in the object right there. And I'm going to make another set of connections. So this time, I'm going to switch the pointer over to, on our date, show, kind of like how we had it set up before. Also, I'm going to switch the pointer out to hide, kind of like, again, how we had it over here. The twist is, though, I'm going to throw an animation on this. Really easy to set up animations here in Zebra. You can see that on this show and hide, we actually have these little white carrots here. If I click them and expand, we've got some options for setting up transitions on it. Really easy to set up the transitions on it. I'm actually just going to say, hey, I want you, when it's time for you to show, to take 0.5 seconds to zoom into showing. So let's take a look at this here again. The show, zoom, it's going to be linear. You can tweak it in all sorts of different ways under here, but I'm just going to leave it easy at linear. And it's going to take 0.5 seconds to hide. I'm going to just do the same thing for hide. These don't have to be the same at all. You can set it up however you want. It's very flexible in what you can set up here. But now, instead of just blinking on and off, kind of like our date did over here, now it's going to take a second to transition to showing and hiding. So here we go. Oops. Made a mistake. I'm going to go back here. Again, you can see how quick I'm going back and forth between editing and running. So I set it to hide on run. So when I first start running, this is going to be hidden on stage. Let's go. We're running again. Again, should impress. It impressed me the first time when I saw how quickly I can get into running. And here we go. The date is transitioning up and down. It's showing because of where my mouse is. And there we go. All this is happening because of those connections that we've set up backstage through the message centers. And I'd like to point out this object is talking to 2 different things at the same time. And it actually has 4 different things, so the pointer over and out and the checked on and off, all looking at once. It's looking for all of these. There's no limit in Zebra. You could have this button right here talk to 1,000 different objects on stage. You know, I could have it start playing videos and show text and change colors of things and do all sorts of wonderful things just off of one button push. It is not one-to-one at all. It's very easy to go and talk to a bunch of different things at the same time. But yeah, let's see. Any questions on what we've covered so far? Looks like Tara does have a question. Looks like Tara has a question. I think my associate here is actually going to answer it for her backstage. But the quick answer is yes, there is an instruction book. Within the week, we are actually going to be launching a forum so people can talk directly to us. We can see here on our main page, I'll jump out a little bit. And under our support section, we have a bunch of basic videos right here talking about all sorts of stuff with how to set up objects and to build stuff in Zebra. Also, in the editor itself, you can see right here, we have this Help tab. All you have to do is click it, ZebraZapps Help, and boom, here's a whole gigantic help thing covering basically any topic you can think of, and if it's not covered, it will be soon, because this is always being added to help you guys. So I hope that answers you, Tara. So let's go back and look at this here. So we're basically done with the functionality of this app right here. You know, we've got it so we mouse over, it shows the date. I click on it, it's going to show the date as well. I could build this 6 more times, but I don't have to at all because of what I like, the feature called alt drag. It's not that I like to call it alt drag, so that's what it is. So I'm actually going to go here, I'm going to select all these items, and this is a little bit different than a normal copy because if I hold down the Alt key and drag off of here, you can see I've actually made a copy of everything. I can kind of put it anywhere here on stage right now. But perhaps the more important thing right here is that all of these wires came along as well. And you can see that they're all working. I want them to kick it into gear right here. I'm just going to hit play. Boom, they're all working independently right now of what I had before. And all of you smart instructional designers right here can see that all I have to do is start swapping out some stuff in here. So grab this text in here as well. Change it out. And boom, you've got copies of what we had before, but it looks a little bit different because all I have to do is keep on copying out what I had put on stage before and swapping out some of the text in there, and it's going to be unique from its initial copy. Very easy to kind of keep on copying out this stuff. Bob, okay, question from Bob, excellent. Can you alt copy events? Well, he just said copy events. Of course, check it out. So I've built all this out in event 1. I'm actually going to hold down Alt on my keyboard and hit the plus button right here, and it's going to copy this entire event. You can see here, it's actually we are in event 2, whereas we were in event 1 before. This is the event we've been working in most of our time, but this is right here, event 2, is an exact copy of that event, which we can use to, you know, change around and copy out all this stuff and do whatever we want with it. I can copy stuff, you know, from here into a different event. Very easy to copy stuff around, Bob. Does that answer your question? All right, looks like we're good to go. So yeah, I'm not actually going to build out all 6 that we had in our example before. However, we've got the basics of it here, and I think it's time for us to start making it look pretty. I don't think any of you folks will complain with that because we've got our prototype here. It's pretty solid functionally. We can start making it look nice for our audience. So let's go back to here. Hey, guess what? I just remembered I actually have all the art that I need for this. Yay. And what I could do is I could drag out a copy, put it here on stage, you know, send it back in terms of in layers or stack order and pull it forward and position it just right and delete my rectangle, but I'm not going to do that because it's way easier than that. We have what we call imagery placement, and pay attention to those because this one is a doozy. It's going to be a huge time saver, especially for anyone who's created stuff in other platforms before. So you can see I've got my prototype here, and this I've got my functionality here. And this check I want to be where the rectangle is. I'm going to mouse over the rectangle, and some yellow and black construction tape is going to come up. And once that comes up, I release it, and boom, swapped out the original. So now the rectangle has been replaced with this check right here. And it's very easy to do that and replace out assets as you're going along. I'll show you. I'll keep on doing it here and kind of show you the magic. I keep on swapping out stuff here. And as I'm going, you can hopefully see that those primitives, those placeholders that I had before are going away and being replaced with this new stuff very fast. And you'll actually see that not only are they being swapped out, but when they're swapped out, they're keeping their wiring. So what we had set up here before is still going to work functionally just as it had before I started making those changes. I'll kick it into run mode right now, so hopefully you can see it. You know, it looks a lot prettier now. I mouse over it, the date's going to show, our date text is going to show, amount's going to show, our amount text is going to show. Again, I swapped all those out in, what, 15 seconds? Took me no time at all to keep on swapping these out. And it's that easy. That's why Zebra's great at prototyping. You don't need this stuff. You can get in here, build your functionality, and just go with it right away. Not only that, you know, I had this image here already on stage. Let's say I had to make a change to it. You know, it could be, hey, I can't use Jill Engelhardt as a name anymore. I have to use a different name, and our artist makes us a whole new image for here. No problem. There's no limit on imagery placement. You can keep on swapping it out to whatever picture you want. All you have to do is drag it out and let the construction tape come up. And once it does, it'll swap out perfectly. It's not a problem at all. As for these buttons that we had up here, we can swap these out too. You can actually see the graphic button property is expanded right now. We have all the different states that a button can be in when it's sitting here on stage. I'm actually going to drag that into here. Boom. We switched it into number 1. It's actually changed it to all these states right now just for simplicity's sake. I'm actually going to swap out just the checked part here as well. So there's our number 1. And here's our number 2. Swap it all out. And there we go. You can see I built out all my functionality, built out my prototype. I've swapped out all my assets here. I'm actually going to tweak this around a little here. Can't help but be a little strict, little close to details as a designer here. But once I kick it in run mode, hopefully you can see we're pretty much done. I could make 6 more of them. We've got the basic functionality built out here and be ready to go. And it's pretty similar to what we had here on stage before. But other than instead of building out the rest of it, I'm going to open it up to you guys. You know, this is my example. You can see we've gone from nothing to having some good functionality here on stage. If there's any questions, now's the time to ask them because it's on you folks, and we can ask you you can ask any questions at all right now. Any questions, folks? You're nice and filled with them before, but nothing quite right now. Looking through here, making sure I didn't miss any. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's something from you. Do we have a quiz maker? We don't have a quiz maker per se, but what we do have is the ability to both, you know. So here's the short answer. No, we don't have a quiz maker. The long answer is yes, we have a quiz maker, but it's entirely on you, and maybe not just you specifically, but the audience, to create the quiz maker yourself. This would probably be a good time to look at a feature in Zebra called Gadgets. Again, folks, I'm only scratching the surface here on what you can do in Zebra. I get rid of some of the stuff we had built out here before, and I'm going to make a new event, and we are going to bring a gadget into it. So I'm going to go the long way around to answering your question here, Tara, by taking a look at this. So we're in this new event. It doesn't have to be in a new event. I just kind of opened it up here for ease of use. And I'm going to open up this little button here on the side that says Cloud. And after I open it up, you can see all of my gadgets. So a gadget is a reusable piece of content that I can pop into basically any project. And what that means is if I make something in a project, like a really good question or a button that I like to use or basically anything in Zebra you can make, you can turn into a gadget. I'm actually going to show you this one here. It's called Media Player. It's something I made off here on my own. I've clicked it, I've dragged it onto the stage, and here it is. And the objects that we were looking at before, we actually saw only, they all had only one message center. You can see here we've actually got several objects. We've got kind of our video object, which is one of these right here. I'll draw one out on stage. It's the same object. That's what we use to display video in Zebra. We've got several buttons down here. These aren't checkboxes. These are actually push buttons, which I've kind of, styled a little bit. I've made black and white. I've changed some stuff around on here. I've actually got a slider in here, which as soon as you start using Zebra a lot, sliders become your best friend. We've got another button down here. When I kick it into gear, right here, you'll actually see when I hit play, a video is going to load up on screen. Again, this is streaming from YouTube. Very easy to make video content in here with how I've set it up right now. I can restart it from the very beginning. I can swipe forward in the video to some point down here. I can adjust the volume on it, just how I've set it up here. And I built this in a different project. This one object here, as I said, is composed of all sorts of different little objects all working in harmony together. I'm actually double click on this gadget and open it up. And you can see it's all sitting in this container right now, and you can see the guts of it. This is actually how it's set up. These are the individual objects here that are all working together in this one object that is now a gadget. And basically, I can take out this media player and pop it into any project that I have. It's great, for example, for let's say this follows our company branding as an example. It's got all of our company color scheme. Everyone's seen it and liked it. Just pop it into every course that you have instead of building out a new one every time or trying to get all of the, dimensions and everything right. You can just drag down a copy every single time you need one. Swap out, which YouTube video it's looking at right here. We've got it kind of right there, and just go, and you're ready to go. It's very useful for all of that. Now back to Tara's original question, do we have a quiz maker? No, we don't. However, maybe you can see the applications of gadgets in this capacity. Instead of just, folks have, and you can actually go out right now and start looking at stuff that we have in there. I'll close this, go back to kind of our main shop. We've got the app shop, but we've also got the Gadget Shop right down here. If I click here, you'll actually see this media player that I've created and popped out here. There's all sorts of stuff out here, questions that people have made and popped out here into the shop that you can use, pop into your course right now, tweak and change out what the actual question is, however you want it. There's a lot of stuff in the back end that you can switch and grab other people's pieces of content as long as they're offering them up and put them in your own projects, change them around a little bit, and repurpose them as your own. The app shops it's really about sharing. It's about sharing out stuff that you've made, getting stuff from other people, kind of networking, seeing their ideas, how they build stuff in Zebra, and going back and forth on a lot of that stuff. You can get a lot of good ideas just by looking at the projects that people have made, maybe collecting some of their gadgets and tweaking around with them in various ways. Does that answer your question, Tara? All right, folks. Any other questions? Bob, I know you were asking stuff before. Jerry, you had something at one point. Anything from you folks at all that I can answer right now? I'm more than happy to do it. Built in this time at the end. Just answer any questions that you have. All right, folks. Looks like you're all quiet, right? Oh, here we go. Ah, Tara, thank you. You reminded me. We need to know how to start our trial besides the coupon. You know what, folks? Let's get that going right now. Thank you so much for reminding me, Tara. Bob, Jerry, what are you doing? Should remind me that we got to do this right now. Why don't we set you guys up with it right now? In fact, I'll kind of walk through it on screen with you and describe the basics of how to set up an account with your free trial. Sound good to you guys? All right. So here's what we got to do. Why don't you folks? I'll give you all the information. You can just kind of watch me here as we're going through it. I'll even sign up an account with you. So why don't you open another browser window, and you can kind of keep my window shrunk or in background, and I'll go nice and slow so you can follow along with what you're doing. But open a new browser window and go to ZebraZapps.com. Hopefully it looks like this. However, if you've never been to Zebra before, it's going to look like not this. Try to use my incognito browsing to ZebraZapps.com. Hopefully this will bring me right to the page that I'm looking for. Okay, I bet a lot of you folks are seeing this right here, the Take Me to ZebraZapps page. Why don't you click this at the top here, and it'll let you into this area right here. And why don't you give me a hands up when you're on this same page as me right here. So actually it'll look like this here. When you guys are on this page and it looks like this, give me a hands up. All right, 1, 2, okay, excellent. Looks like we're all good. And after you're on this page, hit the green button on the side right here and give me a hands up when you're on this page here. I know it might be a little bit slow for some of you folks, and I'm not trying to talk down to you in any way. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. And, oh, you know what? You guys are all doing it. I don't have to worry about it. Just trying to keep you on board. All right, so we're on the same page. I'm going to put all your hands down. And now under the Pro Plus column, hit Sign Up, that orange button on there. And after you hit that, why don't you throw your hands up? I just want to remind you folks, I'm going to give you 30 days for free at Pro Plus. There is, hold on just a second. Okay. Never mind about that. I had a chat with one of my coworkers here. So you're here on this page. We're all signed up, and we're going to get you going here for however many days you have in your trial. I'm sure some of you know what that means. So here we go. Pro Plus. Now's the time. I think you guys can probably figure this out on your own. Why don't you go through here and fill out your contact information. Unfortunately, I cannot follow you beyond this point, because I'm not going to sign up a 200th account here in this session right now. But I have a lot of accounts, folks. But I'm going to let you fill out all this information right here. And when you're done filling it out, why don't you raise your hand so I know when it's time to go along. Oh, Jerry, okay, you're fast. So that we've got, so when I know it's time for us to go along. All right, folks, after this step, you can hit Open Account, and on this next page, so you'll be hitting this here, you can, okay, thanks, sir. You can actually pop in your coupon code, and we'll pop it in right now. I have been learning the military phonetic alphabet recently, folks. So I'm going to spell out the trial code for you, and I'm going to spell it out in the military phonetic alphabet here. So I want to get really fancy for you, so I know that you've got it right now. So the code is going to be ZZTrial30, and that would be Zulu, Zulu, Tango, Romeo, India, Alpha, Lima 30. Hey, any of you military people around, you can give me a critique, but I think that's it. I've been learning it lately and quite proud of myself for it. Clearly, I have unusual hobbies. All right, so after you've got that, you can just submit your coupon. You give me a hands up after you've submitted that coupon. And then you can hit start using ZebraZapps, I believe is on the final page. I want you to give me a hands up after you guys are all set up there. All right, folks, looks like you're all signed up. And you know what? Go for it. You're ready to use Zebra. Do whatever you like in it. If you have any questions, you can contact me. I, however, will be trying to contact you sometime this afternoon to follow up, see if you have any questions, and see what I can do to get you going with Zebra. So thank you, folks, very much. Okay. And Tara's gone. So we'll wrap it up right now. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.